Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video I'd like to try a little experiment. So I've heard that there is a possibility to increase the number of views in the particular YouTube video if one uses a proxy rotation. So imagine that we will be making HTTP requests to the particular video URL endpoint from different kind of sources, and that could have been observed by the YouTube as like somebody is trying to watch that video. Of course, that might affect the rating of the video even worse, probably, because if you know that something regarding YouTube algorithms, the point there that the video rating is doesn't only rely on the number of views, but even more it relies on average view duration. So in this case the percentage of view duration would be decreased basically, but still I just want to try this as a proof of concept. So I will try to pick up one of my videos that I don't really care much about. So here is just only 5 views on this kind of video, and I would also try to open this video in the separate tab as well. And even though we know that it kind of takes time to update all of these values, so they are not updated just instantly when the view has occurred, but still we could have kind of see if like this video has 5 views for the last, I don't know, from October 17, so it's not really that popular. So we'll try to use this kind of video to increase some views for it. So, well, if you're excited, guys, let's actually start writing some code. So I'll be using this free proxies as the source to fake my IP address, and also I'm using this experimental Python development environment that I've created for you guys to be able to follow this tutorial completely in browser. So we will be using Python SCRAPY framework because it allows us to do asynchronous HTTP requests, and this is kind of it. So, well, let's actually start. First we need to import SCRAPY itself, and from scrapy.crawler import what is known as the crawler process, and now we need to define the class. Let's call this views, okay, and it would inherit from scrapy.spider, which is the basic SCRAPY spider, like a general purpose one. Also we need to provide the name for our spider. Let's call it views as well, and here I just want to say run spider and create an instance of crawler process. So I say process equals crawler process, okay, and process dot crawl, and the name of the spider as an argument, so views in our case, and process dot start to actually start SCRAPY to crawl where we will want to crawl. Okay, so now let's define URLs, start URLs. So I say start URLs, and this needs to be a type of Python list, and here we'll specify HTTPS free proxy list.net. Okay, so this is the source where we're supposed to be taking our free proxy servers, and also I'll specify the headers taken from my browser. So this is my browser specific stuff. If you don't know how to get this, there is an easy way. You can just invoke your developer tools and just go to the network tab here, then make a response, make a request, and here if you just try to take one of them, and here you see the response headers and request headers. So these guys can be easily grabbed and formatted a little bit, and at the very end you'll have this sort of Python dictionary to specify the particular headers for your crawler and for your scraper basically. But we won't be using this in order to make requests to HTTP to this free proxy list, so we don't really need that. We'll need this when we'll be making requests to our particular video. So now let's specify the callback method, the default callback method, which is called parse, and it takes two arguments. So the first one is the self instance, as always in Python classes, and response would be the second one. Let me just response like this would be the second argument here. So first let's actually print response.text just to make sure that we did successfully retrieve data from this freeproxylist.net, and just to make sure that everything actually kind of works. So I just press Ctrl Shift Enter to run the code, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it seems like we have the response from our free proxy list, and now we need simply to extract this kind of proxies, and this can be done pretty simple. So first we need to extract our table, so I can simply say table equals response.css, and in this case I'm using CSS selectors, which are SCRAPY native selectors, kind of like that. So here we just specify the tag name, which is the table, and that's kind of it. And also now we need to extract all the rows out of the table, so we can simply say rows equals table CSS and tr tag, which stands for table rows. And now let's actually try to print them just to see if it does extract stuff correctly. So get all to see what is in there. Okay, so it seems like we have our rows correctly, and now let's extract the columns basically. So I can simply say cols equals to, and this will be using the list comprehension technique. So I say row for row in rows, and in this case the row would be the SCRAPY selector. So here we need to say simply CSS, and we want to extract all the TZ tags, which stands for table data, and here we need to specify the getAll method to make this kind of stuff a type of Python list. So excuse me, so now let's actually try to print our cols. So I say print cols, and I hope to see those as well. Okay, so now we have a list of lists, and every okay, so also we actually need to specify the text in order to get rid of this nasty text. So we can simply say td text like this, and this time it should be just fine basically. Okay, so now we need simply to loop over all of the cols here. So I can simply say for call in cols, and here we need to extract only those proxies that are type of a lit proxy and also supports the HTTPS. So this represents the HTTPS status. So we can just quickly go to free proxy list, and let me just quickly show you that as well. So just go in here, then we'll see that here HTTPS supports. So that this is important. So we only need those that supports HTTPS, and only those that are actually elite proxies. Well, wait, they are here. They just the ordering doesn't work perfectly well, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so in order to achieve that, basically we need simply to say first if call, which means we need to skip those columns where there is nothing. We need to skip empty calls, and then we say and call indexed by, and let's count 0 1 2 3 4. So call indexed by 4 equals elite proxy. Okay, and call indexed by, so 4 5 6, and call indexed by 6 equals to yes, which means it supports HTTPS, so the secure HTTP requests. And in this case, let's first simply try to print our call here, but we obviously don't need all of those. Okay, so we did extracted all the link proxies which supports the HTTPS. And now let's create the variable here that would be called proxies basically. and this would be the type of Python list. And what we want to do here, so the particular format to store proxies for Scrapy is pretty the same like for Beautiful Soup, basically. Well, I mean for requests, sorry. So we need simply to say HTTPS, yes, and colon and double slash here plus. Now we need a column indexed by 0, so we need the address, and then plus, and then a column separator, and then column indexed by 1, which stands for the port. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so here we have the list of our proxies, which is pretty nice, basically. So not really that much, but well, it's still just for the testing purposes. We don't need to make a kind of a million views after running this program, so this is just fairly enough. Okay, now we need actually to append this kind of stuff to our proxy list, so we can say simply proxies.append and this stuff here. Okay, and now before we will actually start making our request to the particular video URL endpoint, we'll first try to check whether those proxies works or not. So in order for doing that, I'll be using some test link here, which I've created also for this kind of testing purposes. So well, I'll better just show you this. So now we need to look over the proxies, so we can say simply for proxy in proxies. Okay, and here let's specify the URL. So first the URL would be HTTPS, well let's call this test URL, and the second would be the video URL that we'll specify later on. Okay, maybe just now. Okay, video URL. So the video URL would be this one, and I just copy this and paste it here. Okay, and the test URL would be HTTPS scrapingconfig.herokuapp.com/API/request, and that's kind of the URL endpoint that I've created to test those requests. Let me just quickly show you that. So now I'm making requests from my browser, and well, basically, well, this app is sleeping. That's why it takes a little bit of time, but we'll awake it in the moment. So here we see the all the information regarding the IP address, method, headers, and so on. And also it has a kind of visual representation of this API data here, so we can also see this in a more like user-friendly way. But just to bear that in mind, that we care actually only about this kind of JSON response. So also, by the way, we can import JSON here to pre-print the JSON response, and say import JSON. Okay, and here we need to make a custom request with this with the scrape, and in order to do that, actually, we need to say simply yield and scrapy dot request, and the first parameter would be the test URL. Okay, and also we need to say don't filter. Oh, let me just quickly check that out. Okay, yes, don't filter equals to true, and that's needed to make multiple requests to the only URL endpoint. So by default, this don't filter is false. That means that scraper request would be actually avoiding duplicating URL endpoints, duplicating requesting this kind of similar URL endpoints. And also we need to specify the headers here. So headers would be equal to self.headers, and also we need to specify the proxies, and we need to say simply meta equals and proxy and the current proxy that we're looping over. And let me just think if this is it. Okay, and probably the very last thing to consider is just to define the callback function. So you can simply say callback equals, well, let's call this self dot check proxy, check proxy, check response, doesn't matter. Okay, check response is just fine. So okay, so is this kind of it? Yeah, great. And now the very last thing left here, we actually need to define our self, no, sorry, not self, just def instead. No, not this indentation level, but over here. And this would be a method called check response. So this method would be fired after this this request was successfully made, so bearing that in mind. And this check response, just like the parse method, would contain 2 arguments, so the self instance, which is casual for Python classes, and also we'll have the response, but this time this would be the response from this kind of request, not from the initial one from this URL, but already the response from this kind of request here. So here we need to simply to say we just want to print so first we need to say JSON, so I just want to print the response. Well, let me first just show you this, how this is supposed to be in the raw output. So I say simply response dot text, and I hold my breath and run this code, and I hope to see some API responses here with the IP address being changed. And oh, okay, so this wouldn't probably now work because we need to limit the number of proxies, because this kind of sort of environment, yeah, it just gives us a timeout here. So let me just do a little trick to fix this. So here, well, where I'm appended to proxies, I can simply say if length of proxies is more than, well, say 4. Okay, this time we want just to break. So let's try this one more time. I just want to have the successful status code here. Okay, because that just takes too much time, and I will basically show you that on my local environment, just to make sure that it works. If it's just a matter of this kind of environment, which I definitely need to create some sort of background process execution here. Well, not blocking like it's implemented now, but the non-blocking one. I'll probably do this later on. Okay, still doesn't kind of work. It's because the proxy is being timed out apparently. Okay, let me just try decrease this even more. Okay. Well, probably we will have to switch to kind of local environment, just because I believe proxies. Well, I did test this with 5 before recording this video. It did work perfectly well, but at this moment, for some reason, it doesn't kind of. Well, okay guys, so let me just try to copy the entire code here, and just I'll paste this to my local document. So here is views.py file. Okay, and I just want to open the terminal here. Well, it's actually already been opened, so clear. So I say Python 3 views.py and run this. So here it should have kind of worked. Okay, so can see the status codes. Hey, hold on a second. Why is there are so many of? Did I actually ask him to print the proxies? I'm not sure really. Okay, just hold on a sec, guys. Okay guys, I just forgot to save this file before running, so I was kind of running the previous version. Okay, so here actually we have we're starting to have our responses back. So first, so crowd, and here is the headers, and IP is this one, and okay, so didn't really seem to get much more here. okay, as far as it works, let me just try to print this kind of stuff. So I can simply say JSON dot loads and this response dot text, and now we just, in order to print this, we can simply say JSON dot dumps and the JSON itself, and indentation equals to 2 spaces like this. I'll just say this again. Okay, so here you see that IP address has been changed. Okay, so let me just cancel this and try to run this one more time. So this response is from the API. Would be printed a little bit more. Okay, great. So this IP, and here we have the different IP. Okay, so another IP. Okay, so it seems like it works. Great. So from now on, we can actually try simply to change our test URL to the video URL, and well, I think that in that case we'll have our video views being increased, and also we can get rid of this limitation, because in the local system it just can go through all of the proxies. Basically, there is not really much of those. So yeah, now let me just quickly check that out. If okay, guys, just one last thing. Well, I don't promise that for all of you who would be watching this video at the time when you will be watching this video, that here I will append a more button like run in background, so you would be able to run the code that I run here in my local system, just exactly the same here. So in the background, I'm still kind of developing that sort of feature. I'm not sure exactly how to implement that, so I hope just to provide you an opportunity to being able to run long-term process with a scraping, whatever, in this kind of environment. So, but before I'll just show you this on my local stuff. So let's check this one more time. So we still probably have the 5 views here. Okay, so 5 views, nothing has changed since October 17. Okay, same is over here. So just update the stuff. Okay. Okay, still 5 views, and I hold my breath, and here I'll change the test URL to actually video URL and save this and just try to run this, and just try to run this one more time. So we'll see. Okay, so the first seems like okay, so the first successfully crawled is the actual free proxy list. Okay. So the first kind of seem to be failing. Okay, what's, oh well, that's because he can't really, okay, just sorry guys, let's as far as YouTube video URL endpoint doesn't return JSON, really that would be just enough to say response, and let's add a couple of new lines to make it visually seen in a better way. So I simply say response status, and this would return the status code. So we need only the status codes of 200s. Those probably would be like a successful attempts to request that video URL. So I'll just say this one more time, and let's try this again. Okay. By the way, it already could added a couple of views already. Not sure, but that probably possible. Okay, so 6 views. Well, at least 1 view has been added here, which is pretty nice. And also remember the delay regarding YouTube itself. So yeah. Okay, so here is successful one. Okay. Well, as far as proxies really take quite a bit of time to push the request through. Well, that's the reason why it works kind of pretty slow. As far as those are free proxies, actually, yeah, the same. Okay, so some basically fails. Well, that's pretty casual stuff regarding free proxies. Okay, so this kind of takes a little time for sure. Let's just keep updating our stuff just to see whether the views the views number has been increased or not. So like that. Okay, so the only view has been added at the moment. Well, not much, but let's see further on. Okay, probably I just pause the video and just let this script run, and then we'll show you. I'll show you the results. Okay. Okay, so we just had another successful 200 response, and see that the views has been updated one more. So now it's 7 views. So 2 successful 200s gave us 2 extra views to our video. Okay, just stop running this. Okay, so here another 200 fires. So well, probably we might have assumed that this would be 8. Okay, still 7. Well, but maybe that's just kind of sort of YouTube delay. I'm not sure. It's not updated that kind of fast. Still 7. Well, okay, let's just wait a little bit more. So we have some successful response to hundreds here. Well, but you know, like if we have a successful response, it doesn't really yet means that for absolutely 100% the views number would be increased, because of course the guys at Google are far more smarter compared to me and those kind of smart guys who are doing this sort of stuff. So of course they know that this kind of techniques are possible, and probably they are trying to reduce this sort of cheating at YouTube, and probably they have some sort of, I don't know, like maybe some security systems that just trying to understand whether it's a spider like which is trying to increase the number of views, not the real kind of users on the internet. So that's kind of it. But still, we can just, as far as this is just a proof of concept, I'm not ever going to use this kind of stuff to increase the views for my videos. Like I mean, in real, like it doesn't make sense basically, because yeah, I don't need views. I need people who want to learn to code. I want people who actually start getting a job after watching my videos, and that's kind of my purpose. So just more like educational purposes. And I'm not making money on YouTube. I'm making money on Upwork. So I don't really care much about the views and subscribers. So okay, let's see if it has been increased somehow or not. So okay, 9 views, not that bad. Okay, we're crawling. That's the true word, that we're actually crawling. This is very slow, but still, well, not all the proxies basically would result the result we need actually. So you have no idea regarding the quality of those free proxies. So like, kind of no idea what exactly they are. So that's pretty fine that Google could have just restrict some of them or even most of them. But still, I just wanted to say that it's kind of like the proof of concept, and as a proof of concept we can see that we had 5 views since October 17, right, until now, until February. What's the date actually? February 17. Whoa, so it's like February, it's October, November, oh my god, November, December, January and February. So it's kind of 4 months. This video had only basically 5 views. So just pretty to make sure that it's not kind of humans that suddenly decided to watch this kind of video in a 4 month. Okay, so about our crawler. Okay, so some extra more responses here. even though Scrapy is working asynchronously now, well, by saying that I mean it tries all these requests in an asynchronous way, even though it's still pretty slow because those free proxies are pretty slow themselves, so it usually can take from 5 to 10 seconds actually to succeed the request through those proxies. Okay, so let's see if we have some extra views being added here. Okay, 10 views, not that bad. Okay, so well, at least from the start of this video we've added already 5 views, which is not really that bad, I believe. And you know, like, I believe if one will use say Crawler API, which is the kind of big middleware for Scrapy to automatically handle proxy rotation. Well, but of course you need to pay $25 to have an authentication key for Crawler. But in that case, well, the Crawler's proxies are really damn good. So if you would use that kind of tool, probably the speed of increasing these views would be a better, but again, if you are ready to spend $25 for increasing your views, it's probably better just to pay those $25 to Google in order to promote your video to real humans instead of this kind of dead views here. Well, but it's basically always kind of you to choose, guys. Okay, so what do we have here else? Okay, let's update one more time. Okay, 11 views, pretty nice. Okay guys, so I will probably pause the video until this script kinda getting finished, and then we'll see how many views did we increase entirely. And well, and also, well, probably I should have used not only elite proxies, but maybe also anonymous and maybe even transparent. Well, for some reason that might have fire as well. I'm not really that sure. So this is an open playground for you guys to try this kind of stuff. So I'll just pause the video until this script ends, and then we'll summarize what we have achieved in this video. Okay, so it seems like the script has been stopped, so we can just try to update this video one last time to see if actually the number of views has been changed. Okay, so not really that much, only 12 views. Well, but I'm not really sure how many proxies we used actually there. Well, actually, well, we can actually try to answer that sort of question, so we just don't need to do this kind of logic. So just let me comment this stuff out and just try to print the length of proxies, so proxies, and okay, the length of proxies here. So just to make sure how many proxies we used, and just we'll calculate so how many proxies did actually fire and how many actually failed in this kind of example. Okay, so it was 26 proxies used, and we have increased views from 5 to 12, so 7 views. So basically it's kind of 26 minus 7, so 7 were just fired, and 26 minus 7, this would be 19, and 19 proxies basically failed. Well, okay guys, I think this is not really that bad result for free proxies, and I'm really wondering what do you think regarding this kind of experiment. So please leave your commentaries below this video. I would be happy to interact with you and kind of chat in regarding this kind of sort of topic. So this is it for this video, and I hope you've learned something interesting, and I hope it was exciting at some point. And I don't encourage you to cheat on YouTube, because it's better to actually improve your videos, like improve your content. Well, I'm personally really more like about improving my content, my English pronunciation, and talking skills, accent, and stuff like that. So also try to type faster, code better, and stuff like that. So well, in any case, guys, I hope this video kind of motivates you to start learning to code if you don't know how to do it yet, and in case if you do know, that it would inspire you to develop yourselves even more, because self-taught way is really that nice. So you can do basically anything if you just want that and if you work hard. So this is it for this video. Until next time, and take care.